Hi everyone, my name is Barbara Newhall and I am finishing my master's degree at the University of Iowa in STEM education. So today I will be talking about my overall understanding of STEM and how it's changed over time since I first started, as well as why I think it's valuable. And then I'll also be talking about why I pursued a master's in STEM education, and then overall looking at my capstone project that I completed this summer, which was definitely off the course because of the virus, and it was just pretty unfortunate to happen, but we made things work. And also be talking about the unit plan that I made in connection to my capstone project. So why I think STEM is pretty valuable. Well, first of all, my understanding has changed over time since I first started the program. Um, it's not that I didn't really know what STEM was. It was more like you either know what it is, but you don't know how to explain it. And that's kind of where I was in the middle. I didn't really know how to explain it. And especially when people ask you, I get that a lot. People ask me, what is STEM? And I pause. And it's like, what answer do I give them? I don't know which answer to give them because my answer could be anywhere from, I don't know, 5 minutes to 2 hours, 3 hours, because STEM is a lot. STEM is so many things. STEM is not just the practices or the disciplines. It's not just being in a lab or completing research. It's also a way of learning. And so like a three-dimensional integrated problem-based learning model. And the way it is we are promoting 21st century skills to be taught to students. So communicating, collaboration, creativity, critical thinking. And those skills are really important to have and are transferable, and which kind of aligns with STEM literacy. And being fluent in that can help you in so many things. Being quick with your decision making, which is also transferable. Many jobs you need that, as well as being able to read a report or doing a basic math function or even troubleshooting any basic issue. And that just makes life a little bit more efficient. And then also with STEM being very valuable is the way it the way it's set up, the structure and the framework, and how it's built in a way so we have progression as students are learning. So it's not just one thing and move on to the next thing. No, we're building on to each thing that we learn. And so then students are still remembering what they learned previously, but building on when they go on to the next grade. And so I think that's why it's very valuable. And there's so many areas that STEM is a part of. People won't think that STEM is when you're trying to find a way to promote social distancing in a certain area. So, for example, the current school district I'm living near, State College Area School District, their alternative to social distancing, but still being able to be in person and remote learning is splitting the last things up from A through M and N through Z. And the first half will be either remote and the other half will be in-person learning, and they'll just switch off alternate days. And that's just to decrease the capacity in the schools, just to decrease the exposure amount and just more social distancing. And that is an example of STEM. That's a real world problem because we definitely need social distancing during this pandemic right now. That's a big problem. And also a big problem is trying to get to school and trying to learn because, of course, in-person learning is um, a lot more engaging, but we also want to be safe at the same time. So the solution it's a very great solution, I think, in my opinion. Um, then I also wanted to talk about my reason for um, getting a master's degree in STEM education. Um, on the surface, I love all things STEM. So I love science, I love chemistry, I love just mixing stuff together. Of course, not in a dangerous way, but I loved chemistry so much. Um, but there was something else that was kind of I figured out that was making me want to pursue a master's degree in STEM, and I realized it was in the past when I was in high school. When I took pre-engineering courses, I was the only girl, and oftentimes I was left in the shadows. Boys would leave me in the dark during team projects or they wouldn't let me take the lead, or if I was trying to take the lead, they wouldn't listen, and there was just no support. And then also I was learning through research in the STEM independent research course that I took last year, how Black girls, usually by middle school age, usually their STEM interest decreases by that age point. And then also there's a low percentage of Black women in STEM careers, as well as I learned there's a lack of research for STEM participation among Black girls. But there is research that is minority based, or be Black girls and Black boys, but the problem is that boys don't experience the sexism in STEM that the girls face. So I think it's just very important for that to be touched upon. And so that's one of the reasons why I was just interested in getting a master's in STEM education, is because I really want to either create or promote a program or initiative at the national level, just to get Black girls around the middle school aged interested in STEM education. And it should start at a younger age too, in primary school as well, just because starting at a young age is important. And currently there's Black girls who code and Black girls do science. But I think it's important to also just do STEM as a whole. That way there is no boundaries and we can focus on so many different areas. And also it'd be great to change the narrative of what STEM looks like. And that way they can kind of decide on their own what they think STEM is for themselves. So now I want to talk about my capstone project, and mine was a little bit unique. So me, I think of myself as an alternative educator. Most of my peers were teachers. They were teachers in school, so they had students. And for me, I mostly had experience with just teaching in pre-engineering summer camps, so working with Lego robotics, working with first through third grade, fourth through sixth grade students. And then there's also Tetrix robotics, which is seventh through ninth grade students. And so just teaching outside the classroom, but still in a classroom, and which is a really great experience that I got to have. So my capstone project, I decided to find a problem that's happening right now related to the virus, but also make it related to what's happening to the students right now. So for example, the students are now, or were in remote learning. They had to go remote, and that meant leaving all of their fun labs or activities that they were going to do. And some of them might not have been able to do anything at home. And so that's where my project came in, was to create or come up with experiments that students could create at home safely, so safe experiments. And a lot of them I found at Spangler Science, and or Spangler Science experiments, and they were really good experience. So there's one that's blowing up a balloon with vinegar and baking soda and a water bottle. And my idea was to put it on an outlet or a platform that kids love to use, which is TikTok. Kids are obsessed with TikTok, I've learned. And me and TikTok, we did not mix. I had no idea how to use TikTok, and I'm only 25, but I felt old. And so I was set out to learn how to use TikTok. And one thing I did like was being able to be creative in how I was setting up my station for my experiments, and then also when I was taking the videos. And me, I love video editing, so I was able to use iMovie. And then of course I got to TikTok and I realized, oh, you can only have 1 minute. You can't put in like 3-4 minutes of videos. And so which kind of changed the course of my project a little bit, because I wanted to be a little bit more in depth with my videos. So I realized I had to be a little bit even more creative with TikTok videos, and which meant editing it down to 1 minute, but also including step-by-step instructions, and also graphics, a way to engage the kids in, and or with sound effects. And it was able to be done, and I did that for a couple other experiments. Another example was um, varying levels of salt water density um, in a straw and using food coloring and making a rainbow straw. But the most popular, of course, was the balloon, inflating a balloon with vinegar and baking soda. And part of me thinks that's because most people see our a balloon inflated with helium or with your own air. So reception was pretty good, and I got roughly about 150 views, which I mean, hey, it's my first TikTok video, so I thought it was pretty great, and I had pretty fun doing it just because I got to do experiments as well. And so that goes into my unit plan, which I will share my screen here. So I kind of did a an engineering design webinar that was I wanted to use a foundation of what I originally wanted to do and also take the problem, which was students are having to be remote and have to do online learning. So what I wanted to do instead was have students work on creating their own problem and researching what problems they think they might have, um, or problems around them. What are some everyday things that you think bug people? And of course, in this unit plan, students will be taught like what is STEM, as well as making the connection to engineering and science, giving examples of jobs in STEM. And my favorite thing here, of course, is using the examples of Three Little Pigs, because you see the quote unquote real world problem that the pigs have, that their houses keep getting blown down by the wolf. And they were like, what materials do we need to use so that our houses can stay intact? And they solve their problems by getting the right materials. And so that was just one of my favorite metaphors that I've ever thought of. They were also teaching the students how to find solutions, ask the right questions, and also having them, oops, also having them, let's see, define their own problem once they do their research, and students will mind map to get there. So mind mapping is thinking of one central idea. And for example, like down here from Science Buddies, I found showers. And there's so many things that people can be annoyed by that are related to showers. So, such as it being too hot or too cold when you first start it. Why can't it be the right temperature when you start the shower? And so there's just all these ideas that are related to it. And it's just a great way to get yourself to brainstorm. And but here students will just work on pros and cons and gathering data. And in here we'll have worksheets that I also found on Science Buddy that are just there to help them organize and go through the process of engineering design. And I think these are really great worksheets to just get them through their project. And so at the end, the students would present their problem and their solution, and then they'd also just talk about what their views have changed about STEM, if any, and if they were interested in doing another webinar like this. But I really enjoyed doing this unit plan just because it kind of gave me an opportunity to see what a formal educator would go through, a formal STEM educator would go through in creating a lesson for their students. And I thought this would be great practice for me. So overall, I really enjoyed this capstone project and this program as well. And in the future, I'm definitely interested in going on to extra education and in a PhD, either in curriculum and instruction or just another field in STEM as well. Thank you.